Welcome in, everybody, to another Atlanta reaction. Not Sunday, but Monday. Here we go.
We are back, baby.
We're back. All right. Oh my God, the comments already. Shane.
This should be a fun one.
Yeah, guys, I know everybody's pissed. Everybody has a right to be disappointed. Everybody has a right to be pissed. Bruno, do we really need to talk about this? I don't know. I could sit here and talk about clowns and muffins and unicorns for the next hour.
Yeah.
As opposed to talking about this freaking Atlanta United game. But here we are. Sydney?
This should be pretty cathartic today to talk about this.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get it all out there. We're gonna talk about this game, y'all, and the season, and the state of this club, man. Ooh,
Tyler wasn't able to watch live, which is probably for his benefit.
Yes, you didn't miss anything. Bro.
It was I was having fun. My wife's 17th anniversary.
Yeah.
Congrats. I appreciate it. I was like, I'm not even gonna mess around. I started listening to a little bit on the radio, so I got to listen to Mike and Jason, and then we got to the next place we were going. Turned it off. I was like, I'm not touching this thing until later. And then I'm sure y'all saw the tweet that I put out. Yeah. Freaking pick up my phone and it's an absolute crap show. And I was like, screw this, dude. This is unbelievable.
Well, I hope you had a good anniversary other than that.
I had a phenomenal. It was a good time. We got to hang out in Atlanta. Yeah. We went all over Atlanta, ate way too much food. Good time.
Some things are bigger than sports.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I hear Henry has a rant. And I'm excited to hear it. I'm looking forward to hear it.
I see everybody in the chat. We're going to get to y'all too because I know y'all have some things to say.
Should we get the floor to Henry first?
Yeah, Henry, dive in.
What he has to say?
You want me to go ahead and kick this off? You want me to
kick it off?
This off strong? Okay.
Kick it off.
We'll get started. So here's the thing, right? I choked on water.
Off to a great start.
I thought you were about to drop like
this is the state of this club right now. No, that summarizes the season. That's actually the perfect intro, isn't it? It's like you're getting ready to drop bombs. You're like the anticipation is building, and you just come out with the sputter.
Yeah.
What is going on, man?
I know.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest too. I was watching this game.
Yeah.
And again, I predicted a loss for this game. I predicted a 2-1 loss. On Across the Pitch, the latest episode, I was talking with Todd, and he was like, it might be a 1-1. Like, we're expecting a kind of difficult game. Like, Atlanta's attack could pose problems for it. And I told them, I'm like, dude, I'm going to be real with you. This ain't going to be pretty for us. Historically, we struggle at Subaru Park. Historically, it's not going to go great. And lo and behold, but I didn't expect it to be that bad. Like, I expected it to be a loss, but I didn't expect them to just lie down and take it like that. Honestly, it just felt bad. And I think about 20-25 minutes in, I gave up on watching the rest of the game, and I watched until the end of the half, and I was like, I don't really think I want to watch more of this. I was working MLS during the time because I write stuff for MLS in Spanish, and because all the games were on Saturday, and they had more on at 7:30 that I had to like check in, and I had to like flip between the stuff. And so right in front of me, like I have my TV, and that's where I had the Atlanta United game to start. And then I had on my computer like the MLS wraparound show where they go through the all the different games as stuff starts happening.
Yeah.
At halftime, I switched it, and I actually kind of turned off the Atlanta United game until I heard about the red card. And I'm like, out of morbid curiosity, let's see how they're doing. And it just didn't improve. It really didn't improve despite going down a man. And so let's get into the actual rantiness of this, because I feel like I've been kind of just venting. Let's just, we've heard a lot about what this team needs. And people say like, oh, it's the tactics that don't work. Oh, it's the players. Oh, it's the attitudes. Oh, it's the leadership. I think we hear the same damn thing every single time. And I don't get it. Like, there's something going on in that locker room. And I think the first hint was the whole blame thing. That I think that was the Dallas game that it first came up, or the New England game, where we started hearing about blame. I think that's the first hint that we got. And then the fight on the training ground that happened in the middle of a training session. I think that was another piece of that blowing up. And I've talked about it internally. I don't think I've mentioned it actually on the show, but I think this team has several cliques that just kind of hang around in their own little circles. And that's it's fine to have people that you're especially close to on the team. That's totally fine to have kind of best friends. But it gets to the point, I think, where it's damaging when you have to come together on the field and you don't really see that happening. We've been told so much that the team needs to build chemistry. We've been told so much that they need to just gel. And I don't think they're gelling. Does it take this long to figure out the tactics that Ronny Deila is asking you to do? Does it take 9 games of MLS play to figure that out? And what blows my mind, and I don't know what the situation is at other clubs, but Vancouver, the way that they play, some of the tenets of that system are very similar to what Ronny Deila has wanted to do. The switches of play, they execute that very, very well. They do that very effectively. They patiently wait for the ball, for the pressure to come in, to then move the ball forward and find ways to attack. I see these players, they have the ball, they're anxious, they don't know what to do with it. And in this game particularly, it felt like some of them, it was the first time they'd ever kicked the ball in their life. What are we doing in midfield? You have the freaking ball and you just hand it over to the guys in blue. I know you're wearing a light blue jersey, but come on, man. Come on. You got to know the difference. You've got to be able to play together. It's like most of these players, yes, there's new players, but most of these guys have played together for months now. Some of these guys have played together since the beginning of last season, and you're still not getting it? Yeah. Ronny Deila has talked about, these players have played in like 2-3 different systems over the past 2-3 years, and that is a problem, absolutely. But talk about the attitudes that these players have. Talk about the leadership problem when the only 2 players that are willing to step forward and talk after this game are 2 homegrowns. And Noah Cobb, I expect it from. I know because I've talked to him. I've talked to people around him, people that know him very well, and they say it's not a surprise. He's a leader. He's a guy that club, he is the future. He's going to be fantastic. And he didn't have a great game here. It was a start. He didn't have a great game. I don't pin it 100% on him though. It was an overall just chronically terrible performance from this team. And I'll say this again. If this team has another game where Brooks Lennon leads the team in touches, I'm giving up on this game. Like I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch that. And Brooks Lennon, it's not a hit on you. If you're watching this, look, I know what you're trying to do. I know that you're great at crosses, and at some point that is an asset. But when that is the only thing this club has gone for, when it's the only thing that these players can think of, where it gets to the point where it's like, we don't know what to do with the ball, pass it to Brooks and see if he can freaking find someone's head in the box, right? That's not a tactic. That is not a tactic when you're depending on this one player to just kind of throw it in there and find something. I don't know what else needs to happen. And look, I'm not Deila out right now. I don't want to be Deila out right now because the last thing this team needs is to change managers again. Because this team has gone through managers like freaking, I can't even come up with a metaphor for it. like Georgia goes through seasons, like Georgia temperatures. This team needs stability, and they cannot get it when you're changing managers. But at the same time, can Ronny Deila fix this? Does Ronny Deila know how to fix it? Is the pressure getting to him? When I asked him the question about Miggy and Alexi and how you choose at the 10s, his response spoke volumes. The way he kind of snapped at me, that kind of spoke volumes to me about some of the pressure that he's feeling. He didn't take any questions from media on a Zoom call after the game, and that kind of pissed me off too because I wanted to ask him, why the heck is Jay Fortune on the left wing? I didn't want to ask him in those words. I wanted to ask him in a little bit more diplomatic sense. But I didn't want to know what was the thought behind that, because you had 4 wingers available for this game, right? You had Saba. You had, sure, some will say Edwin Mosquera wasn't match fit, and I understand that, fine. But you had Luke Brennan, and you had Xande Silva, and you opted to start Jay Fortune. I just wanted to know what the psychology was there, because literally before he asked me, like, when does Miggy play the 10? When has Jay Fortune played winger? What? I don't understand, man.
Yeah.
And look, again, I really want Dyla to work out because he says a lot of the right things at times. But man, if this continues, it's going to be hard for people to stay behind him. It's going to be hard for the support to continue. And another thing, when I did Across the Pitch before the New York City game, I did it with Yusuf of the NYCFC Forever podcast. Go check them out. Shout out to them. And Yusuf told me, we were talking about Ronny Dyla. He said they experienced something similar. They experienced he's like, Ronnie's going to piss you off before before things get good, right? And he won an MLS Cup over there. And so they're speaking from experience. Well, Ronny Dyla's already kind of pissing some of us off. So he's already checked that first box. I'm still waiting for that other shoe to drop. And if it drops, fantastic. Awesome. No harm done.
Yeah.
But man, I sure hope it happens soon.
I have a
Because
quick
the fans are they're mad, understandably so.
Yeah.
They're why should they have more patience with this club when it's been 5 straight years almost of mediocrity?
Yeah. No, exactly.
Why should they continue to take the results? Right? Why should they even come out to games anymore? Why should they even care? Because it's like every season this is marketed as the "we are back" season. We are back, baby, and we're not back.
Yeah.
We're not back, and we look nowhere close to back. And I don't know when we will really be back. When are we ever going to get to that point again? Because the players have changed. The coach has changed. What else do you need to do? What else needs to happen? How many more transfer windows is my question.
How many shin guards are you wearing to the media game in a couple of weeks?
I'm wearing full bubble wrap. I'm wearing like a bulletproof vest.
Bring a helmet.
Full tactical SWAT gear.
You're gonna come out there looking like an actual American football
I
player.
know.
Yes.
But let me hit on something that Henry was talking about, and the fact that Jay Fortune and Noah Cobb spoke to the media after the match on Saturday. I'll say this, and in the players' defense, I know no one wants to hear it after a 3-0 loss on the road. In the players' defense, it's tough to get someone to talk after a 3-0. I mean, it's just is. So credit to Jay, credit to Noah for facing the music and saying, hey, we're willing to talk. We're willing to, speak to Doug and Jason, in person, and then you and me, Henry, and then Felipe was on there on Zoom, along with a couple of other people. Was a bit irritating to not, at first be able to ask a question, but that's neither here nor there at this point. Here's my thing. I mentioned this the other day. Why is Noah Cobb the only one saying we need to die for our team? We need to, and Jay said it too, to some extent, saying, hey, we have to, get after it. We have to not kill players on the field, but we need to be more physical. We need to be have more of an edge to us on the field.
Because
hold on. Well, no, that's my point. That's my point. Noah Cobb cares. He could tell he cares because it shows. He could tell he chooses his words very carefully because he said, hey, I'm talking about myself too. So I think he understands kind of midstream, like he didn't want to cast blame at everybody else except himself. So credit to him for taking responsibility.
But it should also be some of the older players taking responsibility.
No, that's my
Let's
point.
Be real. The leaders on this team also, because we've heard, right, Brad is the captain. And he, to be completely fair to Brad, he takes responsibility after games. But I think at some point he also gets tired of being the one that the press always goes to for these things, because it feels like every single loss, everyone's like lining up around Brad's locker. and then there's Stian, then there's Derek, and a lot of these guys. And I want to hear from more of these guys. I want to know what this club means to them.
Yeah.
Because if the club doesn't really mean, if it's just another stop on your journey, then that's not the right attitude to have. And I want to know for how many players that's the mentality. I want to know how many people feel the badge. I want to know how many people actually really, truly in their heart, like love this club and would lay down their fucking life for it.
Yeah, I mean,
in a sense, I want to see that passion.
We don't have enough
that we haven't seen
players
for a while. Tell me, okay. I challenge you. Tell me, when is the last time that you watched an Atlanta United game and at the end, all the players just collapsed from exhaustion or collapsed onto the field?
Probably, well, I didn't watch, but probably Eastern Conference semifinal against Orlando, I would say.
Okay, yeah, and that's a big game. Before that one.
Yeah.
Before that one.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter if you're only going to show up for the big games, because to get to those big games, you have to succeed here in the regular season. Like every game has to be your biggest games. And if you're not treating them like that, then you don't need to be here.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. And I think Ronnie Dyla has also kind of sort of said that, not in those words, but he's said that message as well a little bit, of the players that are going to play are the best ones, are the players that really feel it, right? That give 100%, that are 100%. And maybe you know what, Jay Fortune was on the wing because he wanted to send a message to the wingers that had been underperforming. To be fair, Saba hadn't really been doing too well. None of the other wingers really were producing at the rate that's acceptable for this club, for the expectation that this club has ahead of it.
Even if you are, though, Henry, why on the road in the match where you're coming off 4 points out of a possible 9 at home, even if you want to send a message, like you can't run the risk of experimenting and trying different things, like putting Jay Fortune on the wing, who didn't have a bad game, to be fair. But why? Why are you doing it? Is it the right time to send a message? Is it the right time to say, hey, you got to step it up or Jay Fortune's going to play your place? So even if that's the case, I don't know if that's the right time to do it. Jay is not the reason why they lost. It's a collective effort or lack thereof, and that's the most frustrating thing for me.
It's just disheartening, Sydney. Yeah. Let me, and I'm sorry that I'm kind of jumping in, but it's disheartening when after games there seems to be a common theme of, well, the players need to play a little bit, but they're not playing as well as I know that they can play, or I'm paraphrasing here, or like we need to really feel it, or that the other team wanted it more. Like, what?
Why?
That should be. That kills me that this is something that we're talking professional soccer players, and you're not like feeling it. You're not giving 100%. You're not. What are you here for?
Yeah.
What are you here for then? If you're not here to play your heart out, to play for the badge, if you're not here to give 100%, I don't get it. These are professionals that we're talking about. They're not like kids.
Yeah.
The kids have more passion than the freaking experiment like 30-year-olds.
And that's the sad part. And I think, Tyler, you want to jump in, but, I see leaders. We talked about Brad earlier. Saba, we already talked about him. The guy who feels the badge. I feel like, and Jason was talking about it during the radio call, I feel like Bartek, as much crap as he gets, I feel like he has passion. But where's that across the team? Teams like this team has too many players in it who think that just because they're big, bad Atlanta United, they can just walk up to the pitch and expect to just walk off with 3 points. And that's the problem. And, the canned rehearsed answers are getting tiring after you're not only losing you're losing at home, you're losing on the road. And just show something, show you care. And this team didn't do that on Saturday outside of a few players. And that's sad. It really is.
Man, I'm going to get started in a second. I do want to hit on some of the comments. First of all, Kevin, thank you for Henry's pain and suffering compensation fund.
It's like one of those lawyer commercials. Like, have you felt pain and anguish watching Atlanta United? You could be entitled to substantial financial compensation. But thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, for sure. Appreciate it.
Did you want me to jump into Gray's chat?
I do. Hang on though. Because I just want to kind of get this is where we're at with this team, because some people will listen to this after the fact and you're not going to see all the comments. But I mean, you have guys coming in, like Dylan saying not convinced on the mentality stuff. It starts with coaching. Mark coming in with what I think right now is the common sense lineup to start this team as, and just see what happens with it. Kevin saying, Saba might be the only one that shows heart. There's a couple more for sure. Pretty Idiot saying, don't forget about Miggy. Like the point I'm making with all this is fans are opinionated and they're pissed off.
Yeah.
They're pissed off. I wrote about it on scarvesandspikes.com last week after the 3-game homestand because I was so disappointed. And I knew I was going to write an article after that match. When they had the 3-game homestand, I was like, I'm going to do an opinion piece. Hopefully it's a good one. And when I say good, I mean positive. But that homestand wasn't positive. You came out 4 out of 9 points. You're a miracle game from coming out of that with 1 out of 9.
Yeah.
And that's not acceptable. So here we are now, a week later. We talked about it last week. You wanted to see passion. And when I say passion, I mean exactly what Henry's talking about, what y'all been talking about. I want, like the kid who was born in Chattanooga, who essentially grew up in Atlanta, and his family made so many sacrifices for him to play for this club. That I expect, but I'm still pleasantly, I don't want to say surprised because I expected I know a Cobb, but like it makes me happy to see that. That being said, where is it from everybody else? Everybody else. And I know we talk about leadership. I know we talk about, somebody stepping up on the field and being that guy in the locker room, the guy being, the one outside the locker room. I think I saw a comment a minute ago. Yeah, Brian saying, Joseph flipped the table of chicken and rice because of what we're talking about right now. This is now 4 years, almost 5, whatever, 2020 it's mediocre. You're an average team. Playing
that's
average.
A compliment at this point, really.
Right. I mean, yeah, I would say playing below average. Take away the attack, the amount of money that you spent, take all that crap away. You're playing shit football right now.
Yeah.
Period. You look like garbage. And it's not one player. It's not just the coaching staff. It's not just, the front office. Like I could go into all kinds of points on, pros and cons for all of them. At the end of the day, go out there and act like you give a crap about the badge. Get the motivation from somewhere, whether it's your family, whether it's pride for the badge. If it's about the money, cool. Go make it about the money, but make it worth everybody else's money that comes in to watch you play. I had people texting me on my anniversary because, again, I was on my anniversary not able to watch the game live. I had people texting me saying, dude, I just want to give my money back to MLS season pass. Like, I don't even want to watch this team right now. And these are people that have been here from the beginning. But I don't blame them. I don't blame them. It's crap right now. And it's not one excuse. It's not, that you got to change tactics. You got to do this. You got to take one player out. You got to bench a player. It's not even about all that. It's about 11 guys going out there and just acting like they want to freaking be there, because right now it doesn't look like they want to be there. They did not look like they wanted to be in Philadelphia at all, at all. And that's crap. That's crap. Get your head screwed on right.
And we asked the question, Tyler, when is there going to be a spark in this team? Like, I don't know if you're at rock bottom at this point, but you're pretty darn close.
Man,
you're pretty darn close.
I tweeted out, I'm like, Atlanta reaches a new low and just keeps digging.
Yeah.
It feels that way, man.
But how do you get out? Like, you got the crap beaten out of you by a Philadelphia, and you can see it. And you can see it with a man advantage. I mean, it's just so annoying. It's so frustrating to talk about this stuff. And credit to the fans who have stuck with this team for years. But why are we questioning this? Why do we even need to question these guys' motivation? I mean, Noah said it. A lot of these players have played at high-level teams, high-level clubs, better leagues across the world. And why are they not meeting the moment? It's not a talent thing. Talent's not the issue. The want to, the effort, the passion is the issue. And we've talked about so many years with this team that it's not the coach. You can want Rob Valentino back here all you want. He's not walking through that door, I'm sorry to say. Ronnie Dyla's here through at least the year.
Do you think that
the players,
regardless of results, that he stays throughout for the whole year?
Well, my point is this. I want
to know. I'm curious because I know somebody's about to be the same way in the chat.
I think he does. I think he gets
this regardless of the results.
Well, I want to say yes, but man, if things really don't get better. I think you're gonna have to ask some major questions.
Okay, let me throw this out.
Here's
I'm
my
sorry.
point, though.
I'm sorry. Before you continue, I just wanted to throw something out real quick. So last season, Gonzalo Pineda got fired in June with a record of 4-8-4. If by around the same time, 16 games in, that's the record, does Ronnie Deila get fired?
Well, that's different because he's not. Pineda wasn't Garth's coach. Pineda didn't hire, or Garth didn't hire Pineda.
Okay, but if Garth's coach has the same record that Pineda did when he got fired, and this is the season where it was supposed to be, okay, we're winning the season, right? The expectation is top 3, top 4. Does Ronnie Deila stay?
I think so. Garth Lagerwey, I don't mean this in a negative way, is a very proud person. He's not going to fire a coach after, 16 matches, because that will be saying, hey, I screwed up. I messed up on this hire after 16 matches. And that will cause more harm than good among the fan base, among the players, among the front office, that your first shot at hiring a coach didn't make it through, half the season. I mean, imagine what that will do to your reputation as one of the best front office men in MLS history, to say after 16 matches, my hire didn't work out. You think he's really willing to bite that bullet? I don't. But here's my point, though. A lot of people are clamoring for Rob Valentina. And look, Rob Valentina is a terrific guy. You did wonderful with the hand that he was dealt both times. Is he really the answer for this team long term? Because if this team continues to play poorly, you bring in Rob Valentino. I mean, if they continue to play poorly, what's the excuse going to be? Give these guys more time under Rob. Give Rob more time. We have to take off the blinders of emotion and look at it realistically. And from a realistic standpoint, it's just will do more harm than good at this point to bring Rob Valentino in for Ronnie Deila. That's just my opinion. But and my point is this: the players themselves have to take ownership, regardless of who the head coach is, because they have to find the motivation within themselves to do that. Slogans are good, sayings are good, rallying cries are good, but when those are gone, who do you turn to? You have to turn to yourself. You have to look inside yourself and find that passion. And Tyler said it. Now, if it's nothing more than money, at least you are showing that you care. At least you're playing for something. So,
yeah. I mean, and
that's just where I come out on it.
I think with me, when it comes to Ronnie Deila, ultimately it's going to come down to him. It's going to come down to him doing what he can with the roster. I find it hard to get frustrated, though, at least some of the stuff he's trying, because he's at least trying to change, in game, whatever. Now, do I agree with the starting lineups? No, I haven't really agreed with him in a while. I think I'm totally okay. I like to see that he's trying stuff, though. So when I put my tweet out, like, oh yeah, we're doing something, like whatever, I mean, at least you're doing something different. And it could be a variety of reasons, right? Like the Jay Fortune thing on the left wing. I mean, he did play with the twos back in the day. Like he's played that position before, but he came into the first team, essentially, we knew, as a midfielder. And my concern, though, is that if Deila, having seen the way that he interacts with the players and knowing, kind of at least on the surface that we get at training, like what his way of kind of getting on to players, praising players, what all that comes down to, if he can't fix it soon, then that means there is something in the locker room that is fundamentally wrong, like fundamentally wrong. And
there already is.
I mean, there is, but what I'm saying is, like, if he can't fix it, then you're going to have to start really, really asking some questions. The front office is going to have to look at whatever I don't want to maybe call it a poison, whatever it is. Like, what does that come down to? Where is it coming from? Who is it? And, we talk about the players that want to be here. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, Miggy wants to be here. Noah Cobb, absolutely. Almost, I would say all the homegrowns, you can throw them in that bucket. I feel like Saba does, because I feel like he would go cut his, chest open for this team right now.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like the rest of the team, again, questioning the motivation, because you kind of have to at this point. Maybe it's not fair, but show the fans that you do care, and we wouldn't be asking the questions. Man, I don't even know. Did I? I'm
Yeah.
ranting at this point. We'll get Tommy in here, but
Yeah.
it's just the excuses have to stop. The fans are tired of them.
No, absolutely. Let's get Tommy in. I'm sure he has some insight into what is going on. What you got? You were watching WrestleMania on Saturday.
I was. And still WrestleMania Monday. I got some friends over, but I decided to come down and just see how everyone's doing. And it didn't seem well from what I just heard from Tyler.
No,
we're hanging in there. We're hanging
chat.
in there. How are you doing?
Well, I'm glad I was able to focus on two different things and not just spend 90 minutes only focusing on that game, because it looked ugly. It was very ugly. The videos, obviously, you saw the video I think Felipe posted where it was another Brooks Lennon just running into the defender and hoping that this one time you actually teleport through him and you just have a really good break. And shockingly, it did not work again. Keep on trying, Brooks. Maybe it'll work one day. We had a very long conversation back and forth in the Discord, which was in ironically the Atlanta Hawks channel there, because the Hawks fired their general manager today, Landry Fields, and we were talking about Garth Lagerwey. And look, front office people make mistakes, or sometimes they will sign a player that every single person says, like, this is a good signing, right? You get all the people on all the news channels saying, great moves, great coach hire. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. This is the time where Garth Lagerwey is going to be earning his money, is trying to be able to fix this in the next year, because you can't go into it. Now, the hard part is for this job, and is why I'm glad that none of us are making it, is when do you make the changes? When do you decide if Ronnie's not the choice? When do you decide that Marunchuk's shouldn't be there? Almiron was a mistake. I saw Henry's tweets and people attacking Henry. I had my hockey stick ready. I was going to come swinging at him for you. I didn't like them yelling at my Henry. That's not what they should be doing. But this is where the big bucks and his general manager of the year role needs to come into play here. Is you have to figure something out sooner than later. And I don't know. I'll still put fire Garth. You're not firing Garth Lagerwey, but he needs to. Well, there was a couple people saying, and I came in defending him there, because you're going to get some things wrong on occasion, but now it's when can you do it in a timely fashion? Because that's when you're going to get that's when general managers, presidents of teams get fired, because they do take too long. The best people that run teams know when they made the wrong decision and move on it from right away. And I saw there's something real small about Kirk Cousins. I had read that, and I'm sure it's from Omar. So I'm just going to continue to ignore that.
So let me ask you this real quick, though. How long does Stiley get? We were just talking. Does he get the year to hopefully turn things around for this team, or what do you think?
I think we were talking about it on Sunday in the Discord. When you go on that long road trip, if it is as bad as we think it could be, there's a very good chance that they could make a decision there. You don't know, like, how bad the morale, because I think I heard one of you earlier talking about, like, where's the lowest of lows that you could hit where you lose the locker room completely. It's just gone. There's no salvaging what could be a decent team there. You might come back from that road trip and it might be so bad you might just say, no, this isn't a fit. This just can't work. But that's just my thought, because imagine, I know you're coming back and you're going to be playing Austin, and then there's a couple more home games before the road trip that you have. Not Austin. Is it Austin home? Nashville. I'm sorry, Nashville. You you're going to see the stadium starting, the attendance starting to go down. You are just going to see. You saw it last season. You saw the Leagues Cup. We were the meme that was like the official get rid of Leagues Cup advocate there. Like, don't go to the Leagues Cup. Nobody goes to Atlanta for it. But if you come back from that road trip and it's miserable, like let's just say it's, mostly Atlanta United on the road and they just can't pick up points. They play
Right.
just like they did in Philadelphia. How can you come back home and be like, everything's fine? And
Yeah.
and you're not seeing any improvement. If there's no improvement and, obviously, and it's exactly what Carlos Bocanegra did during the not Leagues Cup, the
Open
whatever MLS's back tournament
Oh.
when he was there, and remember, like he was on the sideline, like talking to the players and everything like that. That's going to be Garth and Henderson's job, is to be going on the road with the team, seeing how everyone's reacting to each other, and if it's not working, unfortunately, you might have to make that change.
Y'all
But
wanna
then
do a
that's a
quick-
real disaster. That's a real disaster.
Y'all want to
You
do a
don't-
quick exercise and look at like this team's next 7 games?
Let's do it.
Don't
Why
do
not?
it.
Let's do it, because we're not even getting into the road stretch at this point. But okay, so this weekend at Orlando City, I really don't think that's a win. I think that's another loss, especially because I think Latte Lot's suspended. If I'm not
Yeah, he is.
mistaken, he's suspended. Yeah, where are the goals going to come from?
Maybe it's 0-0 again, Henry.
Maybe.
got
You know
3
what?
straight games. Would you
Yeah.
rather lose every game, or would you rather just sit there and be like, hey, I got 3 back-to-back-to-back 0-0 draws? Oh, that's terrible.
This is a good point.
Why watch the
I'd rather
games
just
at that
I'd rather
point?
just lose. I'd rather just lose at that point.
Why watch the games at that point? So
Right.
that-
But like
that's the next
when they
thing.
say draws are like kissing your sister, I want to kiss my sister 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
I don't even have one, but I still don't want to do it.
God,
Who's
erase
next?
that. Next after that, you're coming back home to face Nashville. I actually think that's a game that they maybe could win. But then again, I've said that for several games this season. Then you're going away to Chicago, away to Austin, and then you're hosting. You get another 3-game homestand. Listen to this one: hosting Philadelphia, hosting Cincinnati, hosting Orlando.
Well, that should be fun.
I don't see it. I just don't see. Okay, how many points? How many points? Let's start there. How many games do they win right
Oh
there?
my gosh. Out of those 7, I don't know. I'll have to see it like written out because I'm just trying to.
I mean, if
Just
they play the way that
visualize
they
it.
have, I'll
Yeah.
say 1.
Just 1 out of 7.
I mean,
I
again,
have one too.
and I'm not trying to be negative. I'm really not. But
Yeah.
you play the way you did against Philly or against New England. I don't think you're beating Chicago. Austin's almost top of the West, and Philly just beat the crap out of you, made you look embarrassing. Cincinnati,
Yeah.
top of the East almost, and then Orlando, who you're probably not going to score goals against, apparently.
You could talk me into maybe 2. I think you could beat Nashville. You could. I mean, that's I don't know. But I definitely see what you're saying. Like these next 7 matches, really tough to see which one they legitimately could win. I feel like they match up best against Nashville. That's just how I see it at this point. But yeah, outside of that, maybe you nick 1 against Orlando and see it out. Who knows? But the fact that we can sit here and say, hey, and by the way, you have 6 away after that, after Orlando at home.
Literally right
That-
after that.
the
6
fact that we
away
can-
games.
The fact that we can sit here and say, hey, this team may not win a game, or if they do, they'll win just 1 match, is scary.
So how could you
Scary.
say, and you're saying all this, and how could you say that Ronnie Dowd could live through this?
Well-
Through this window here? Like, I
Because if he
don't think you
changes-
can.
If he changes anything
I-
about this team, then
I think
you have
yeah.
a legitimate opportunity to win 4 or 5 of those. And
If
yes, if that's what I'm saying. But again, that goes back to my earlier point where you can at least say that Ronnie has tried some stuff. Like
yeah.
it might not always make sense on the surface and it hasn't come away with results the way you want to, but at least, I mean, freaking change. You're trying something, man. Throw something at the wall till it sticks. Make this team an ugly counterattacking soccer team and just be done
That's
with
what
it.
they're meant to be. That's how they started, is a counterattacking soccer team that just hits you hard and prefers to play against the ball. And I think they have to kind of go back to those roots. And they did that very well with Rob Valentino. They kind of that's part of one of the systems that they tried to shift to was moving quickly, transition, go direct. And then the other thing is that NYCFC game. I'm going to keep harping on this partially because I wrote about it, but also because it worked. Is you moved Moranchuk to the 8, and suddenly he finds these pockets of space at the back where he can distribute the ball. He can use that wide range of passing to help you move upfield, to help you a lot. And look, Zilf and a bunch of people in the Discord will throw game state at me. And sure. And it's the only game that we've seen that happen. And we won't know if that adjustment actually works until we see it in another game. I just find it weird that Ronnie Deila hasn't pulled that page out of his playbook ever again since that NYCFC game. And I would think that he would do a little bit more often when the team, I think, played its best 30 minutes when he made those changes. I want to see a little bit more of that.
I don't think Ronnie Deila is stupid enough to just say, hey, I'm just not going to change anything. I think he understands. I would hope that he understands he's got to change things tactically. And Tyler, like you said, at least he's tried to do something, right? But I think he would come to the realization, we saw it with the board to much greater extent in 2019. I hope it doesn't take a locker room near mutiny like we saw in 2019 for him to kind of face the music. But and let me just go back to does Deila stay the year? I think if it gets very dire and you win, but one match in the next 7, or started the thing 0 in the next 7, I think you have to have some serious conversations. So go ahead, Tommy.
Well, when you say stupid, I don't think it's stupid. I think it's just stubborn. And maybe
Stubborn,
it's just,
stupid,
maybe it's
whatever,
both
yeah.
things. Maybe it's see all the above there. But you've seen it. You've seen him being stubborn. You've seen him getting a little angry at getting asked the same questions. Well, sorry. Like, that's just what happens.
Yeah.
In any sport, right? Like, oh, why aren't you passing to your best receiver? Next game, they don't pass to the receiver. They're going to ask them that question again. Like, these questions are going to continue happening, especially in the league where you have 3 players that get this special designation. And if they're not producing, you're going to get asked about it. That's just how this league works. And it sucks that you have this special, DP next to your name, but that means money. And that money means that you are expected to have results on the field. And your coach is going to be asked about it nonstop. And like, even if you benched him, they're going to ask, like, well, a DP, why can't you figure out how to put him into the roster if you're spending that much money on him? I mean, that's just what happens here. I just don't. If they come back from this road trip with, I mean, from now until the road trip, if they have one win out of that, or maybe 2, I just don't see him coming back. And you talk about a mutiny, and this isn't a mutiny. And correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there a couple Instagram pictures out there where they were talking about this was like Atlanta's worst start, and didn't Cobb like a few of those? I don't know if you've already talked about this.
I don't think it was Cobb.
Brennan.
It was Brennan.
Luke Brennan, sorry.
Brennan.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was liking them in negative fashion or just in solidarity of, hey, the team needs to get things together. But
you'll never know, but it's
Right.
still weird. If I was playing, I don't know if I'd like, oh, it's Atlanta's first start. Oh, let me heart this. I don't know.
So with Latte Lot being suspended for Orlando City, and someone said in the chat, maybe that does spark the team, because what if those safety nets will be gone? The big record-signing striker. Now you're going to have to look to presumably TRA and then maybe Togashi comes in the second half. With that safety net gone, maybe that will be what this team needs to wake things up because, hey, you're looking at Latte Lat to be your top goal scorer. Now he won't be there. So maybe that kind of motivates them to hopefully get a result at Orlando because they have to get at least something out of this, guys. It's just imperative.
I'm sorry, Sydney, but I kind of chuckle anytime I hear motivate around this team anymore.
I know, but I know. Tommy's got to bounce.
Yeah, I got to run. I'll be back Wednesday. I got to think more about this situation. I and just for the record, because a lot of people have been tweeting, I tweeted a span right before a couple of years ago in Ronnie's first tenure with New York FC. There was a span of games that looked very similar to what we're going through right now. Losses, no goals scored, and then they went on to Atlanta, got a draw, and then went MLS Cup. That wasn't the point that I was thinking that, we're going to all of a sudden win MLS Cup after this. But he's been through this, and we've talked about it before, and I'm still trying to remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure it was talking to MLS Moves at some point early in the season. He said, I remember always talking about with New York FC fans that just with him, he was very stubborn. And fans were getting upset with him, slow to make changes, and they were questioning it during that long home stretch. And for us, we were starting to get on a roll, so we thought we were going to roll New York FC there, and obviously they ended up getting it there. But when do they fix it? Can they get that point or win that's going to start moving this team forward? I hope so. But if you're losing Tyler on weekly picks, you're losing this guy on the positivity there, Ronnie. You've lost Tyler.
That's where you know things have gone.
When you lose in Spike's locker room.
When you lose this guy,
exactly,
you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Tommy, can I ask you a quick question? Gray asked this: does Ronnie Deila make it to June 12th against NYCFC? That is in 9 games. Do you think he makes it?
Is that the last home game?
No, that is 2 games into the 6-game away stretch.
Oh, okay. I think if they do fire him, it's at the end of the road trip. So I think he's still here.
Okay.
Cool. I think they wait. I think if there's a coach that has a first game, it would be at that first home game back.
Fair.
I don't know why. I just got a feeling that they've got to. I think that end of the road trip is going to be the decision maker if it continues to be that bad.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
I got to go defend my title.
Peace.
No problem. I'll see you.
Belt.
Thanks for coming on.
See you, Tommy.
I think if I could just forget the lineups, forget the tactics, forget playing Marinchuk at the 8 and Miggy at the 10 and Sabo on the right and whoever on the left, all that. Cayman Togashi as the 9, please.
Yeah.
Forget all that. If Deila can go into that locker room and get this team to pull their collective head out of their ass and start showing something on the field, then I think honestly that's a big enough step in the right direction. And it's kind of pathetic that we have to say that, but this isn't like you saw a whole bunch of positivity on the back of kind of a similar set of situation where you have a team that doesn't act like they want to be there. And then Deila comes in and it falls apart. And then he's charged with picking it back up again. Like it never really picked back up. There hasn't been, I think, a consistent level of players that act like they care on this team for a very, very long time. I see like Brian in the chat. He's like 2019. That's when it happened. But he's not wrong. Like this team has not had somebody, I think, I say somebody, a collective enough group of individuals to affect change
Right.
in the right direction with this team since 2019. But if Ronnie can get them to pull their head out of their butt and at least go out there, because passion and showing that you care about the club that you're playing for can win you more games than Atlanta's winning right now.
Yeah.
Get it together. That's half the battle. Then we can talk about sitting people, playing the right lineup, the tactics. But right now, it's more than that. It seems like there are players out there, and I know people are talking about in the chat, Mike and Jason, that they had commented on it. I think after the second goal, you just had players that literally just look, their body language told you everything you needed to know. And it was sad. And fans look at that and yes, they're pissed off. And then here you have Noah Cobb that's trying to rally the freaking group around him. Again, why is it just somebody like Noah? And none of what we're saying is to take anything away from Noah Cobb. Y'all know how I feel about Noah. I know we all have mad respect for him because exactly that. He goes out there and he shows out every freaking game, whether it's a good game, bad game, whether he has a good performance or not. You have to have that, but more than just a handful of homegrown players. The veterans should be exhibiting this day in and day out. And on the crappy days like Saturday, that should be when your star players say, no, I need to go address what just happened. And you're not seeing that. And that's pathetic.
How do you guys feel about, and of course we'll hear from the players in training this week, but just going back to Orlando, I mean, just show a pulse, like show something. Like if you play to a 0-0 draw, I mean, there can be really boring 0-0 draws, and there can be really passionate 0-0 draws where you come away thinking, man, this should have been 3 points because we played our butts off. We left it on the field. When's the last time you can say Atlanta United, and this kind of goes back to what Henry was saying earlier in the show. It's hard to say when's the last time Atlanta United left it on the field outside of the playoffs last year. And it's just so disappointing to say that, but that's just where we are. And, I'll say it again, not to repeat what we've already said, but, there's a set of players that, have just kind of still used to how things have always been. They just don't care anymore. And part of it too is, it's just, hey, we're Atlanta United. We want to win trophies, big club and all that. And just rehearse these lines like, we want to win trophies. We want to be the big club. You're not a big club right now. You have a big following. You have a big name. You have a big reputation, but you're not a big club. You're not playing like a big club. You haven't played like a big club for most of the last few years.
Yeah, and on that, I want to get on Dylan's comment real quick because he said, I know it's not 1-to-1, but why is it on the players for this case? But in 2019, when we started off poor, we never said that players had no effort. And my
at least he showed effort.
My biggest thing with that was in 2019, Atlanta, it's not that they started off poor. They started off boring. They started off still, gathering points at the beginning of the season, though we looked at it and we were like, what is this crap? Like, we just got off of 2018 seeing that kind of soccer, and here we are like, parking the bus and playing this defensive. But then you look back at the results at the beginning of 2019 and it's like, okay, well, I mean, at least they were getting something out of it. Now, they did have to get to the point where they had to change it up because the locker room was being actively lost and we could see it almost happening in real time. And then when the players who showed that they wanted to be there were able to then play the type of soccer that they were brought there for, most of them, then you saw them go on a run and almost have a back-to-back appearance at home in MLS Cup.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest difference. Right now, I look at the group of players, the body language that they exhibit, the frustration. I get it, you're losing, but nobody is standing up to say, like, look, let's freaking go. Like, we have a badge to play for. We have fans to play for. And I don't think you could take anybody right now and put it on a 2019 team and even compare the amount of passion that they show.
I think part of that too is, like you said, they had won MLS Cup in 2018, so the expectations were high. And Frank DeBoer, the toughest part of his job was following the guy that brought the championship to Atlanta, the first championship to Atlanta in years. So he had a tough job as it was, And it didn't start out good, like he said, but at least he changed things up. Took some prodding by the players, but at least he changed things. When does Styler get to that point? When do the players get to that point? I think that's where we're saying, hey, the players need to take ownership, because they do. And Styler, certainly needs to take ownership, because he's the manager. His job is to put this team in the position to win matches. And right now, he's not doing it. He got the lineups wrong on Saturday. And, he's got to do a better job in positioning this team. But that doesn't absolve the players at all. I think that's my point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there is, because I don't want to keep it going back to the 2019 thing, but like, I think no matter what that year, you had culture that was still left over from 2018, because the culture was in the locker room. The culture is essentially what created that change in the play style, because it was so strong, fans included, that they were able to then step in and say, like, dude, we have regressed as a team entirely, and we're winning out of almost pure spite at this point. Then when the switch got flipped, it was like, hey, like, we're back to playing slightly more free-flowing soccer. The players are able to use their strengths, the positions that they're comfortable in, and create a group that was better than the sum of their parts. Right now, you could take any of these players on Atlanta United, I think, put them on a different team, and I think they would perform better than they are right now. And that's a bad place to be. Like, it's one thing to kind of even it out, but if you're playing far less than the sum of your parts, you've got a problem, and it's a cultural problem.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the clicks?
Yeah, hit on those, because I know
Real quick.
Yeah. So Gray was asking about it earlier, and brought up this thing about clicks and kind of the social status of or the social state of this team, of the roster. And so here's the thing. A lot of these players, and I mentioned it a little bit in my opening rant, but they hang around with a lot of the same people. And that's not a problem, again, but it becomes a problem when those are like the only guys that you hang out with, and they're the only guys that you are really kind of close with and interact with. And there was this training drill that they did. I don't remember if it was last week or a couple weeks ago. But they basically split up into teams to play like a series of mini games, and they picked their teams.
Like playing a Mario Party. I love mini games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could really tell like what the theme of each team was, because they all shared like some sort of common background. Because you had all like Slish, Cleach, Gregerson, Moranchuk, Saba, all kind of the Eastern European kind of players all together in one group. You had all the French-speaking kind of players in another group, with Latela, with Miyumbo, with Tiare, with these other guys. You had all the Latino kind of Spanish players, Miggy, Ronald, Hernandez, Luis Abram, Mascara, all in one group. You had the homegrowns all in one group. And if you pay attention, they kind of come off of the team bus in that order also. And then if you watch them walk out for training, they kind of also walk out with that same group. And so, and the weird part to me is this. When this team first started training in preseason, you could really see like the DPs hanging together. For example, like Maggie and Latte La and Moranchuk, they kind of would walk out together. I haven't seen that since. They've kind of since stuck with their little groups. Right. And it's not to say that they don't necessarily like people that are from the other kind of cliques in the team. But that kind of division, I think it could be a little damaging. And I really hope it's just me kind of looking too far into things, because if what I'm saying turns out to have some sort of, relevance to it, if that is kind of what's going on, then that kind of speaks a little bit further to some of the cultural issues within this team.
I think there's credence to it. I feel like in the group setting, you gravitate toward those that you're more used to. So I'm kind of thinking about that, but I think there's definitely credence to what you're saying. The only thing we can see, guys, is part of training. We can see what's on social media, the closed off portions of training we don't see. So if that's manifesting itself even more, or even to a greater extent on the training ground, then maybe there's a concern. So I'm kind of on the fence about, hey, should we be concerned about it, or should we just kind of just look at it as, hey, guys are just kind of hanging out under their own groups naturally with no spite. That being said, it's a collective effort. It's going to need to take this team out of this doldrums and get them played to the way they need to be playing. So if there's clicks keeping them from maybe passing the ball to the right person, or maybe trying to get themselves to improve their own stats rather than helping the team as a whole, then that's a problem.
One of the things that I actually asked Ronnie Dilo when I was down in Florida when they were at IMG was kind of like what he's doing to build the chemistry. And he kind of made a joke, and he was like, I'm not really one of those that's like gonna tell the guys to go, drop them off in a mountain and then have them like find their way out together. Like he, kind of joking around about it. And at this point, I kind of wish he would. But he was like,
walk back home from Philadelphia.
Exactly. Yeah. That night they were set to have a dinner. And the one thing that he made sure to do, he said, was to essentially sit the players who maybe hadn't been clicking, hanging out together, sit them all together. So is that something that he just does because that's part of preseason, or is that something that he identified early on and said, hey, we need to kind of break a little bit of this up? And if that's the case, because I see like Brian's comment, then it's on him to fix it. I mean, it is on him to fix it no matter what, if it's affecting the game. I mean, I think everybody has a right to question literally all of it at this point, because you can tell the chemistry is not there. You can tell the cohesion is non-existent. So yeah, dude, if you need to go hop in a panel van with 8 of the guys and go get driven
to
in the middle of Alabama, and you got to find your way back, like, then that's what we got to do at this point.
North Georgia.
Yeah, right now it's just not working. Go get, I mean, like, y'all need to be best friends and sooner than later, because right now it's not working.
Can we get La Banda back? That'd be the dream scenario, is building some sort of thing like La Banda.
Yeah.
Just one big happy family.
It's not La Banda right now. It's something else. No. I don't know what it is.
La Clicks.
I'll let you guys kind of fill in the blanks there. I mean, what else do we have to talk about? I mean, I feel like we covered a bunch of the bases.
Got to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Sweetwater Brew. They had their 420 Fest this weekend. It was a big success, massive music festival, obviously, up at Pullman Yards. So now they're turning their attention pretty much to Atlanta. And I'm sorry to say for them, like, you unfortunately picked a terrible time to do so. But that's where we're at. Hopefully we get to see the comeback of the ages. But right now, it just doesn't seem that way. Anyway, go visit sweetwaterbrew.com for more information on their Rowdy Peach IPA, the OG 420, G13, all the other ones. And go get you some.
And subscribe on Patreon, patreon.com/scarves and spikes. Look, I mean, it's tough going for the team. We understand that, but we want to continue to provide you guys with great content, whether that be from the training ground, whether that be, other stuff that we want to try. It definitely does help us out a lot. So patreon.com/scarves and spikes. All 3 tiers get you access to our Discord. Higher tiers, higher you go up in tiers, more benefits you get. So patreon.com/scarves and spikes to take advantage of that. Sorry, $1.17 a month.
Yeah. I'm assuming that was you, Henry. No,
you assumed correctly.
Cooking, so let him cook.
Yeah, he told me that. He told me he was getting into cooking.
Good for him.
That's funny.
It's fun stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what else you can say at this point. I mean, look, the emotions are running high. fans are tired of excuses,
Yep.
and it's completely just. You got to go show some heart. Just go do it.
Show something against Orlando. I mean, I feel like asking for a win might be too much, but just show something. If you do lose, hopefully you don't. If you do lose, go down swinging. I mean, show a pulse. Do something.
Can someone like 2 minutes in go for like a crunching tackle on like Rocky something? Like
take out Janssen.
Just take out one of their players. Just send a message.
Yeah.
Like passion. Right. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Spray some pepper spray in the locker room right before opening whistle.
Yeah.
You're not coming back in anyway, so go out there and play soccer.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah.
That's motivator.
Yeah.
You should play so hard you want to come back in this locker room after because you can't freaking move.
Right. Well, this was
No. Sorry, Gray's comment.
Well, this was cathartic, and I feel like we got a lot off our chest.
I agree.
Beat Orlando, or at least do something against Orlando. Show you care against Orlando.
Yeah.
It's a good starting point, at least. It's a good starting point. So I think I said all I need to say on the matter.
We'll be back Wednesday.
Yeah. I'll just add one last bit. It's I really want to see this club succeed, and I really do want to see it get better. It just feels disheartening when it's been so long, and it feels like the needle's barely moved. And at this point, like I don't even know if I'm really excited for match days. It's like it feels a little bit like a chore to see this team. If it's gonna play the way it played against Philly, I really don't think I wanna see more of that. But yeah, I mean, all you can do is hope that they somehow figure it out, and that stuff changes. That's what we got to see. Just to change some stuff, see what works, and fucking just try your best, man. Just put it all out there.
It's 2 F-bombs from you today.
That's fine.
Hey, it warrants it for sure.
Yeah.
It absolutely warrants it. Figure it out, guys.
Yeah.
Get together.
See you Wednesday. Working
Yeah,
on some good guest for Wednesdays, or a good guest for Wednesday. We'll pass along more on our socials, but we'll be here at least.
We definitely will. You'll be safe with the weather tomorrow, by the way.
Let's think of some team building activities for them. Drop them in a corn maze. Make them find their way out. Axe
Laser
throwing.
tag.
Go-karts.
Paintball.
Paintball. I feel like Ronnie would be really good at paintball.
That'd be fun. And that should be broadcast.
Yeah.
I like that.
Kidding.
What else?
Mountain climbing.
I like it. And then when you get done with it, you have to, again, go camp your way back down.
Heck yeah. It's all about trust.
Scavenger hunt.
Scavenger hunt, that's a good one.
I'm in an escape room.
Oh,
Hey, that's
yeah.
a good one.
I don't know how I didn't think of that one. Mercedes-Benz Stadium
That's
escape
right.
room.
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball.
It's